Hello YouTube, Lizzie B here. If you're watching this, it's already too late. And so you're probably gonna need a few tips, just a few, to help get you through the next few years. And no need to worry, Lizzie B is here to help you. I'm here to offer some support. So if you're feeling some hopelessness, if you've been doom scrolling the other apps, just know that we're all in this together and you're gonna be fine. We're all gonna be fine. It's all gonna be fine. Let's take a deep breath. One more, because there was a little shudder in that one. There was a little shudder in my breath. All right, let's try this one more time. In through the nose, out of the mouth. In. There we go. All right, so it's all gonna be fine. Let's start with tip number 1 for surviving the apocalypse that's now upon us. I'm sorry, I hope I didn't scare you. All right, tip number 1. Authenticity and empathy are the new currency. So please keep in mind over the next few years and moving forward in general that you want to be as authentic as possible. You want to be as yourself as humanly possible, because that is going to be what's the most valuable thing. If you are empathetic to people, if you are authentic with yourself, with others, that's going to be key, because nobody wants to deal with fakeness. Just like how you get on your computer and you're doing something and your computer is like, hey, am I talking to a robot or not? That's how the rest of us feel. We're all going to want to know if we're dealing with a real person or not. However, please keep in mind your own safety. You don't want to be super duper vulnerable with everybody. That's why I have books like my dud test book. So shameless plug here. If you have not already checked out my book, please check it out. It's on Amazon. You can purchase it there. If you don't want to go through Amazon, send me a note and I will send you a copy, and you don't even have to go through Amazon. You just pay me directly. So yeah, authenticity and empathy. Being kind is currency now. That is going to be what's most valuable. You being rich, you and being successful, you being all of these wonderful things is going to be cool. But if you're not being generous about it, nobody cares. So that's where we're at nowadays. So that's where the energy needs to be for you. Get to know yourself if you don't already know yourself, and you'll be fine. All right. Number 2, the second thing to keep in mind if you want to survive the oncoming, I mean, it's here pretty much. If you want to survive this robot apocalypse that we are all in, chaos beats machines. Please remember this. Remember that chaos beats machines. So all of the chaos that you're seeing, deep seek happening, and just, you know, all of these major and all of all of the things happening. Oh my God, it's chaos is doing its job. And remember, I've talked about this on other platforms. So if you follow me on other platforms, then the remember applies to you, but you don't have to remember if I have never told you this. But if I haven't never told you this, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Machines have taken over, and machines are predictable. That's the one thing that we can count on with machines, is that if it hasn't been programmed to do something, it doesn't know how to deal with something. And chaos is just the thing that machines do not know how to deal with. So just like all of these systems are being put in place to squash people and to restrict people and to oppress people and to hurt people, chaos is breaking it up, because just look at the definition of what chaos does. Look at the definition of anarchy. All of these things are things that take out the machine. It just disregards authority. So remember that the authority are, mechanical, machine-like systems tend to be very robotic, very police officer-like, and they are very, you must do what I say, and chaos does not care, it does not listen. And so Pluto has entered Aquarius, I believe, and because that's the case, chaos reigns. And so don't be too afraid. Just learn how to go with the flow. That's going to be the best thing that you can do. And keeping in mind that chaos is just doing its thing, and you're never going to know what to expect. So you might as well just kind of lock in, put your seatbelt on, and learn how to be water, my friend. learn that part. Thing number 3, comedy weakens machine systems. Machines, I mean, just like I said, chaos beats machines, comedy weakens them. So please take time to laugh. take time to laugh, take time to smile, crack some jokes. Make sure that you're not taking anything too seriously nowadays. If you need your news delivered to you via comedy, take it like that, because this is a time for you to experience as much joy as possible. You got to steal your joy nowadays. You're not going to be able to just get it by just, being lazy about it. You're going to have to be intentional about finding joy, about finding comedy, about making people laugh, making yourself laugh, finding funny things. It's easy to do once you know how to look for it. So always be on the lookout for a laugh. Laughter raises your vibration, and when your vibration is low, you're easier to control. So remember that if you are looking around and everything's doom and gloom, that's because it's intentional. It's an intentional way to bring your vibration down so that you can always be a slave to whoever is telling you that, the world is terrible, blah, blah, blah. They lull you into that low vibration, and then you are just weakened, and you'll, be easier to control. So you don't want to be easy to control. You want to be chaotic. You want to be in your chaotic energy. And so laugh, gosh darn it. The next thing, and I've already kind of touched on it a little bit, fear is a trap. Please remember that fear is a way also to put you in your low vibration. And when we're in our fear energy, usually what that means is that we're looking for a parent figure, because we don't see ourselves as adults. You're an adult. You do not have to be scared. You are an adult. Just keep saying that to yourself. Remember, things might be scary, things might be bad, but that doesn't mean that when it comes to you and what you can control, that you can't stand up for something. So make sure that you are willing to stand up for something. You can be scared, but you have to be brave. And that's what bravery is standing up for something even when you are afraid. It's doing it anyway. So be in your do it anyway energy, and do not be ruled by fear. You're an adult. You don't have to look for an adult. You're the adult, okay? Unfortunately, sorry. You're the adult. So remember that if somebody's trying to put you in your fear energy, or if you feel like you're just kind of overwhelmed and it's just, this world is just a scary place, go outside, touch some grass, do a few deep breaths, and say this affirmation. I am an adult. I may not be able to control everything, but I can control myself. Start there. Maybe add some more affirmations to it, but start there. You're an adult. You don't have to look for an adult. You're the adult. Okay. Next, find quick ways to figuratively die. Find quick ways to die. And let me explain what this means. Don't let torture linger for yourself. If you are in a situation where somebody is dangling something over your head, they want you to beg for something, or they're threatening to give it to you or not give it to you, just skip to your worst fear. Don't let yourself be manipulated by your desires or your fears. Don't let yourself be strung along or breadcrumbed. Just get to the point. Find the quickest way to die when it comes to things, because nowadays people are kind of putting everyone on some subscription service, an emotional subscription service, some way to kind of keep people's time to themselves. So you want to make sure that you are calling people's bluffs nowadays, or over the next few years anyway. Call people's bluffs. Make sure that people are getting to the point with you. Make sure that you are getting to the point with other people. Make it a swift death. This is not the time to allow yourself to be emotionally, what's the word? Held hostage? Terrorized? Here's another word. Emotionally, I'm going to remember it and I'm going to put it on the screen. Anyway, so yeah, find a quick way to die. Don't let people play in your face for a long period of time. Tell them to get to the point or leave you alone. We ain't no bargaining. We don't bargain with terrorists, or what's the word? We don't negotiate with terrorists. Stop. At some point, the negotiation has to end. So find the quickest way to get to the ending of that negotiation. And you're going to understand what I mean as these years go by, because people gonna be trying it with you. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be trying it with you. That's why I have the DUT test. So another shameless plug for the DUT test. You're gonna be needing defense techniques in the years to come, because people gonna be on some weirdness. You know what I mean? So like I said, authenticity is gonna be key. All right. So next. make up a secret language and do business without the middleman as much as possible. Now, here's the thing. I've already been seeing people do this. People have been kind of communicating, and I think people have always done this anyway, but people have been kind of communicating to each other in a way that kind of lets others know, hey, you know, this is where I stand when it comes to certain things. Like, there's certain phrases that have been getting tossed around on TikTok and I think other social media apps where people are talking about what they plan to do and how they plan to resist. And so, yeah, get into that. You know what I mean? Like, make sure that with your people, maybe the people in your household, there are certain things that you can say and do that kind of speak to an emergency language, because we're going to need times now where we're going to need to be able to communicate things, and everybody's not going to be able to be privy to whatever it is that we're communicating. The key thing to having a secret language is making sure you're using words that you already use. You're saying things that you already say, but they're just taking on another meaning. You don't want to be like, because you don't want to call attention to the secret language. Do what you normally do, say what you normally say, but just make sure that your words mean something to whatever group that you need to be able to speak this emergency language to. It does not have to be complicated. And also another thing, which is something that I have noticed quite a bit with all of these other apps, is that people are like being real like extra about it. Make sure that you buy an extra large t-shirt, you know what I mean? Like, people are doing that. Like, don't be weird about it. Like, this is not about your ego. This is not about we're in a club and this is fun. Like, yeah, have fun, but just know that when you are calling attention to your language and doing the wink, wink, nod thing, the people that you're trying to hide that language from are listening and they're going to try and decode it. You don't want to do that. That's not how secret languages work. It doesn't work where you're calling attention to it. So be careful about that. When you join certain organizations, you tend to be around a lot of people who have also joined organizations, and sometimes they'll have little secret conversations. And I know, because I've done that too, and I know how to pick up on it. I can hear it when it's happening. And so I think a lot of times people who are new to that kind of thing will have a little too much fun with it, and they don't realize that it's very obvious what they're doing. So just beware of that. The second part of what I said about taking out the middleman, doing business without the middleman as much as possible, that's kind of an aspect of the secret language thing. And what I mean by that is that, you know, if you don't want to support a lot of these large businesses, start to go to the smaller businesses. Start doing business with those who are small business owners, little shop owners, people who are sourcing their own products, perhaps artists, people who are making their own clothes, people who are growing their own food. So in cutting out the larger corporations and starting to support the smaller ones, it's kind of like you and that it's not even kind of like you and that small business are having a conversation, and you are leaving Target out of it. You are leaving Starbucks and all of those large companies out of it. You know what I mean? Like, I understand that you're not going to be able to completely boycott the big companies, and that's fine. Like, there's no ethical consumerism under capitalist society. That's just how it works. So do what you need to do, but if as much as possible, try to support small business owners. Try to support, you know, people who have small companies. Support people like me, content creators. If you are getting your content from us, try to financially support us. I know that a lot of people are canceling their subscriptions to some of these large streaming services. Okay, cool. Well, if you're not giving your $12, $13, $14 to Paramount or to Netflix, then, you know, maybe toss $7 to a creator like me or somebody else that's on social media. So find ways to take the big man out of the picture and start speaking directly to people who are providing you services from the source. And so, yeah, so take out the middleman, speak your secret language, all of that. Next thing, get out of your competitive energy as much as possible. Be on your Three Musketeers vibe. I recently just watched Man in the Iron Mask, which is a Leo DiCaprio movie. There's a bunch of other actors in it too. Gerard Depardieu, but I forget John Malkovich. It's a great movie. Anyway, I just recently watched that movie and I love that movie. And I was thinking about like how they're one for all and all for one. And I think that that's the energy that we're all going to need to be in for the next few years and indefinitely. Honestly, I think that's an energy that we should have all been in general. And the reason why it's going to be so important to not be in your competitive energy is because in order to build community, you need to understand that you are part of that community. So if somebody is losing in your community, that means you're losing. There is no I won if your neighbor is losing. So get out of that competitive energy. Also understand that this is not a time to gloat. This is not a time to compare yourself to others in a negative sense where you want that person to fail and you to win. This is not a time for you to give anybody a speech. Well, if I do this thing for you, I'm going to have to sit and give you a lecture. Nobody's going to want to hear that. It's not going to make you look good. It's not going to be a good time for that. This ain't that time. You know what I mean? Now people are going to look for ways to get what they need and you get what you need. So there's bartering systems that are going to happen, and people are not going to want to barter with somebody where they have to receive a lecture from them in order to get what they need. It's like, hey, do you have shoes? Yes. Do you have bread? Like, yes, let's switch. You know what I mean? Like, let's make this transaction and let's call it a day. Be the person that's willing to do the quick and simple transaction. You see a person in need, you can help them. Or if you can't help them, give them a quick no. Don't give them no lecture. Don't try and figure out a way to make it work. Give them a no so they can move on to somebody that can help them, that is poised to help them, that the universe has sent to help them. Don't stand in the way. Don't make things linger. Like I said, find quick ways to die. Also find quick ways to kill, figuratively, because you don't want to leave people on the hook and you don't want to be on the hook either. Also, a lot of times people think that when it comes to community, that community is about sitting together, cuddling on a couch and braiding each other's hair. No, sometimes community is just a quick transaction. That's it. And people know that they're not going to get a lecture from you. They're not going to have to hear, you know what I mean? They're going to get a yes, they're going to get a no, and they're going to be able to move on. Sometimes that is community, and there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, so just understand community don't mean friendships. Sometimes it just means everybody working together as a unit. So get on board with that, or get out of town, because this is not the time to gloat. This is not the time to be in your I have it all energy. People don't care if you have it all no more. They just want to know if you can give it to them or not. You know, if we can make a trade, if we like, what are you doing for me? This ain't the time to be the winner of the contest. Okay. So that's that. Get out of your competitive energy. Next one, be loyal to values, not systems. In order to know what would Jesus do, you got to know what Jesus valued. So at the end of the day, and you know, that was a Christian reference. This still applies even if you're not a Christian. Get your values lined up. Figure out what your values are, because following people, that ain't it. That ain't never been it. And now more than ever, people need to understand where their values are. They need to understand what they stand for or what they will allow to happen. But get in alignment with that. Do not blow and change with the wind, because again, this is going to be a part of establishing your authenticity. People are going to recognize the pattern of your behavior. They're going to know if you're an opportunist that just goes wherever the wind blows. So you need to kind of get that integrity for yourself so that you can have respect for yourself and know that you stand for something. Figure out what your values are. Do not attach your value system to a person. Do not attach it to something that changes, pretty much. Like, I just recently watched a video where they were asking Trump supporters what if they believed something, and they were against it if they thought that Trump was against it, but they were for it if they thought that Trump was for it, and it had nothing to do with what they value themselves. So be clear about what you value. Get a mind of your own. Don't attach that mind to what somebody else is doing. Attach your mind to your values. Hopefully that made sense. Let's move on to the next one and the very, very last one. I was trying to be fast with this video because I don't want it to be, how long is this video? Let me see. Last one, last but not least. Use what you got. So this is not going to be a time to be in your consumerism bag. This is going to be a time to actually look around at all of the things that you have accumulated, all of the things that you have acquired, and figure out what you're going to do with that stuff. You know, everything that you have has energy that you have put into it, and it could be helping you. So take inventory of what you have and figure out how you can be resourceful instead of going out and purchasing more and more and more and contributing to the waste problem of this planet. You do not need more. You do not need to give, you know, Amazon more money or Walmart or Target more money. You do not need to give all of these huge companies that are exploiting people all over the world, including you. You do not need to give them more money. Figure out what you have that you can make use of, and also figure out ways that you can support those who are making things from scratch themselves. This is time for us to be resourceful. This is not a time for us to be in our super consumerism bag. Consumerism is a huge part of why the world is in the state that it is in right now. And if you really, really want to stick it to the man and rebel and you know, rage against the patriarchy and all those things, stop buying so much. Stop consuming so much. Take inventory of what you have. Be grateful, appreciate what you have. And if you don't need something, if it no longer sparks joy, sell it, you know, or give it away, you know, find a use for it so that whatever object or thing that you have can now serve. It can actually live its purpose. And also this goes for your non-tangible things as well. So if you've learned something or if you have something within you, use it. Now's the time to use it. Whatever gift you have, now is the time to use it. Do not let it go to waste. Don't go to school and try and get another gift if you're not using the gifts that you have now. There's nothing wrong with learning something new, but at the end of the day, if it's going to put you into debt, try to chill on that and try and find ways to use what you have so that you can be in a position where you don't feel like you're hoarding things, or that you're not constantly feeling like you're not enough. You are enough. Just like you have enough things, you're enough as well. So figure out what you have. Take inventory of the gifts that you have and start to actually use them, because I promise you, you have so much and you're probably selling yourself short. So don't do that, okay? So I hope that all of these little tips for how to survive the next few years are very helpful for you. We're in this together, guys, you know, so just remember we're in this together. So that's it. Have a wonderful, bye.